Love that you mentioned that scene.
I just love the details.
Only a woman sees this stuff.
First of all, I can't tell if I was more excited to talk to you about this film or gut health in light of Activate You and all the stuff you're doing.
Oh,
is that bad?
So funny.
No, 4 minutes with her.
I think it's perfect.
You obviously were a real life protege to Jackie Chan. I'm sure he taught you many, many things. But is there something that he taught you over the years that really resonated while you were making this particular film?
When I worked with him, we were not allowed to complain about anything. And I don't think that's my nature by nature, but it was really, pounded into me that like you do your job and you do it well and you don't, whatever. And so I think I carry that into all my work. And it's certainly in this one, it was a grueling movie to make in the dead of winter in Eastern Europe. And so it was harder than normal. And I just sort of like always have that in my head. It's like, you got a job to do and you're going to do it. And that's it.
You are so good at what you do. It's funny. I honestly thought I'm going to come into this film and I will have seen everything stunt wise. Oh, and there were times in this film I looked at my husband like, oh, that's going to leave a mark. Like stuff that was so good. How has stunt work changed in your opinion over the years? You've been doing it forever.
Yeah, I think that you start to, and for myself too, I've been really building in it, which is great. I'm able to really hone in certain like skills and things that we want to accomplish on screen. I really work with the coordinators because I can see fights and really know that's going to work for me, or this could be better or whatnot. And so it's very collaborative now because of all my years of experience.
Speaking of collaboration, you and Michael Keaton, I mean, one of the scenes I loved, I'll just tell you right now, because I don't want to spoil anything.
Yeah, sure.
But there are so many little details in the scenes with the two of you. In one scene in particular, you make it very clear, you know your bone broth. You really know your bone broth.
I love that you mentioned that scene.
I just love the details.
Only a woman sees this stuff. I can't. No man has said that, by the way. She says nothing. And then he's leaving. She's like, by the way, you didn't do this right. I mean, she is a piece of work. This woman. And he just looks at her like, and says nothing. Yep. But that's what I love about them. What they say to each other matters, and what they don't say is also speaks volumes.
Is there a favorite detail though that you have? Because there are, I mean, the books that they are debating, like there's so many great little details in there. Did you have a favorite?
Oh yeah. I mean, I just love little things like, Michael and I, we improv'd a lot too, which was nice. The script was already great, but we were able to do these little things. And so like in the bookstore, like, he's like, I want something really special for this woman. And she's like, yeah, that book's $8.9 million or whatever it is.
Right.
And he's like, oh, well. And she's like, maybe a bracelet. There's just this thing of like, we would throw in these things where they're stabbing at each other a little bit, but not so much where it's, you know what I mean? Where it's not friendly and it's not something where you're actually doing it to get to know the person. And the reality is like, she doesn't really care what he thinks. So she can kind of just be herself and she's not trying to impress anyone. And so it's a really interesting thing. And then he doesn't know why she's so interesting to him.
Was he intimidating at all? He's the first time I ever interviewed him, I was so nervous. I think I sweat through my clothes. Was he intimidating to you?
The idea was intimidating to me just because I love his work, but him as a human being, I mean, he's so wonderful. And we had such a great time together. And yeah, there wasn't a moment of weirdness or ego. And there's a lot of ego. I mean, this is Hollywood. Yeah. But he's known as an actor's actor. And so I believed in my heart of hearts that when we were on the day, when we were working, it was going to be about the work. And it was.
I have to get a little personal. There's another line I loved as it relates to Keaton's character, a man who knows Poe and footwear. For you, what are the two subjects that are ideal subjects for a possible mate to know a lot about?
A possible mate. Let's see. Well, intelligence is key. Obviously, to me, that's the most attractive. But I guess you'd have to know food because I love food. And then you have to know, I do. I'm not saying it's my favorite subject because it can be infuriating, but you have to know politics. You have to know what's happening,
Right.
right? Like it doesn't really matter what side you fall in. Like that's up to you, but like you have to know what's going on in the world.
Yes. That is a deal breaker for me as well.
Deal
Well, it is a
breaker, right?
pleasure. I wish this was in person.
You
Congratulations
too.
on this. So inspirational. You
So
just
much.
kick ass. Thanks,
I really
Maggie.
appreciate that. Thank you so much. And thanks for bringing up something no one else did.
Ah, well, thank you for answering a question nobody else brought up.